Welcome to Voice of the Valley. My name is Joe. We're here with two of my favorite people in the whole Lehigh Valley, Bob and Pam from Game Day Men's Health. How are you guys doing?
Doing
Doing
great,
great.
Joe. Very happy to be here. Got a beautiful studio. Happy to spread the game day message and sit around and chat with you guys a little bit.
That's great. It's good to see you guys here. Now, I always come into the clinic. I talk to you guys. We have great conversations. But now I kind of want to get to know you guys personally before you guys open Game Day Men's Health. So what were you guys doing before you decided to open the clinic?
We both came from a very different, diverse background. So my background is engineering. I worked my entire career, 30 years for our products. Just officially retired in November, and kind of looking for that next chapter in life. We came across Game Day Men's Health. Really stood behind what Game Day Health is meant to do, the mission of what Game Day is. Fully embraced it, jumped in, and kind of started our own clinic.
Nice. And what was there a certain, or well, Pam, can you please explain what you were doing?
Sure. I worked in the insurance field for about 30 years too, and just thought we were ready for a change.
Nice. So you guys just said we're gonna retire from that, open up our own business. Was there a certain event or anything that made you be like, hey, I want to open up a health clinic? Was there anything that happened that kind of pushed you towards doing it?
Yeah, so we looked at a couple different business ventures, Joe, and when we came across Game Day Men's Health, without a doubt, and I can share even from personal experience, right? It's testosterone replacement therapy, peptides. This is something I went on myself a couple years, and it really resonated with me. Like all these things that guys after a certain age they start to feel. We typically call it a midlife crisis or father time catching up with us, right? So when I started this treatment plan myself, I said, this is some real stuff, and it's got some good benefits for men. We came across Game Day Men's Health, and that's our mission, to help the men in the Lehigh Valley look, feel, and perform their best. And we just felt like it was a business we could stand behind. It was a business where we could do some good things and feel good about the products we were selling and the services
Yeah.
that we provide.
I feel like that's the best thing. When people actually do their own services and they offer them as well. You know what I mean? Because there's tons of companies that come out and they just sell their services to make money. But when you actually do the services that you offer and you're a walking testimonial, that's the best thing, because you could actually tell people how you feel on it as well. You know what I mean? I know everybody's body is different. Some people react differently, but to be able to do the services and then sell them and get people in the right state of mind and the state of health is a big plus for the Lehigh Valley. What are some of the services that you guys do offer?
There's kind of a core four of services that we provide: hormone replacement therapy, testosterone replacement replacement therapy. That's kind of our core business. What comes with that also is peptides. But the other three cornerstones are medical weight loss, sexual health, and vitamin therapy.
I was actually watching your former podcast, and what struck me most was the amount you can change people's lives. And in particular, you said you had a man who was a father of his a father, and he came in, his life wasn't looking too good, and then he started to take these treatments, he started to work with you guys, and his life changed. And not only that, but he believed in your mission so much, and he saw it within himself so much that he even referred to son. And now when you got father and son kicking ass, and you got father and son improving their lives, and the home life is getting better because of men's health. Like, that's a great thing. So, like, what do you think about the impact you've been able to make so far in your business?
Yeah, that's a really great question, and probably one of our favorite questions that people can ask. And I'm so glad you caught that in the last podcast. That is by far the best success story, message that we've ever had at Game Day Men's Health. And if you don't mind, what I wanted to quote on that is what the son came in. He came in for treatment after we had treated him a little while. He stopped at our front desk one day after his treatment, and he asked if he could talk to Pam and I for just a minute. We thought maybe there was something wrong, treatment went bad or something. But he said, I want to thank you guys. Thank us for what? He said, since my father's been coming to see you for the last 6 months, he's a better father, he's a better husband, he's a better businessman. His business has never been doing better. And every time he comes home from work, he's got this pop in his step and this twinkle in his eye. Whatever he's doing here has transformed his life for the better. And we couldn't think of a more glowing endorsement. And, we're running a business, guys, but at the end of the day, we feel so good about what we do. And that kind of ties back into our core mission at Game Day Men's Health. We exist to help the men in the Lehigh Valley look, feel, and perform their best. And we do that with the best world-class medical treatment, the best customer service, and delivering value to our clients, right? So you can see in that mission statement, there's nothing about growing the business or anything like that, because we feel like if we can hit those other three things the way we need to, the business is going to come along.
Why do you think men usually delay addressing their health issues?
One is, guys in general just don't like to go to the doctor, right? Unless they're missing a limb or, chronically sick, guys just by nature don't like to go to the doctor. When you come into the Game Day clinic, and Joe, I know you've seen us there before, but we got to set up as an environment that's very comfortable for men. It looks like a man cave environment. We got the leather couches, the big screen TVs, sports going on the televisions. But that's the first part. Guys don't like coming in to see the doctor, but there's also this public stigma around testosterone, right? Guys, by nature, they don't like to admit that they may have a testosterone deficiency. There's a stigma that somehow makes you less of a man or less manly. Sexual performance, nobody likes to talk about those kind of things, right? So
yeah, the crazy thing is when your testosterone is really low, you do kind of feel like less of a man. You know what I mean? There's so many health benefits to taking testosterone, and like you said, there's a lot of negativity around it as well. I feel like that's more of the by the book physicians that kind of stereotype it like that. What's like one of the first processes when you come in? So we call Game Day Men's Health, we schedule a meeting, a consultation, and then what goes on from there? What is kind of like the process when a new patient comes in?
Yeah, great question. And we try to make this quick and easy for the guys. So the first thing we want to do is meet with you and do a blood draw and check your labs, right? It's let the data speak and find out what your numbers are. Where is your testosterone level? We discuss with you what symptoms you may be having, and then we have a complimentary consultation with our medical provider. We are a fully licensed and board certified medical facility, right? We're not one of these online places. The people you speak with at Game Day are the same people that are going to be responsible for your treatment plan, right? So same names and faces. But that initial lab test, the consultation is 100% complimentary. We meet with the client, we look at what their numbers are, what symptoms they're having, and then the third dimension is what are their health and wellness goals, right? And then we customize a treatment plan specifically to meet those needs, and that's what we offer to our patients.
What are some of the symptoms that you see from men that have low testosterone?
Yeah, usually it's driven by low energy. You don't have that motivation in life anymore. But really, guys, it's the subtle things, right? And every guy probably in their 30s, 40s has faced this. You get up one morning and you look in the mirror and you don't recognize that guy looking back at you, right? It's that zest for life is gone. You don't have that same energy level. You get home from work at 6 o'clock and you look at the gym and you look at the couch, right? And that couch just becomes too appealing to just kind of sit and hang out.
Yeah.
And it's just we as your testosterone levels decrease, we lose that zest for life, that, to want to get out and do things and be active and interact with people. And it's kind of a subtle thing, but pervasive throughout all aspects of your life.
Yeah, I know some of the symptoms as well are like thinning of the hair. You could have poor sleep, develop sleep apnea. So there's a lot of different things. Another misconception is a lot of people use them to build muscle as well. So when you go to your clinic, you look at their blood test, make sure everything is in range, and then you prescribe them on how low their testosterone is, correct?
Yeah, that's great. We look at a couple different things when we're dosing people. We look at kind of their body, bigger guys who are active in the gym typically get dosed a little bit higher on testosterone. But I do want to emphasize here that, we're not a steroid clinic, right? That's not the kind of business we in. This is medical treatment plans. So if you look at, and there's a debate, the medical community has one range of what's optimal testosterone levels. Typically, if you go to your primary care doctor, unless your levels are below 200, they're going to tell you fit in that normal range, right? Where we say, we don't want you just at the lower end of normal. We want to get you into that optimal range, anywhere from 600 to 1200. And so we try to dose them pretty precisely to get them, anywhere from that 900 to 1100 range and get them feeling optimally. We're not trying to create the next Arnold Schwarzenegger or the next bodybuilder,
Yeah.
right? Just getting guys feeling their optimal best.
It's all about longevity. What kind of staff do you have there 24/7 to help you run business?
Yeah. Do you want to fill that one, Pam?
Sure. So I'm usually the face that you'll see when you come in the door. We have a medical assistant who is the person who would be doing the blood work for the patients. And then we have our clinic directors who are overseen by a medical director.
That's great. That's great. And then you guys are open 6 days a week, 5 days a week?
Yeah. So right now we're open 5 days a week. We're open late on Tuesdays and Thursdays, Pam?
Mondays and Thursdays we're open
Mondays
late.
and Thursdays. Yeah, we got some extended hours there, but we're just about to add some additional hours for Saturday.
Saturday,
Um,
nice.
Yeah. I could never figure out why the medical community, most medical offices are open like 8 to 5 when everybody has to work.
Mm.
And especially, we get a lot of guys, a lot of the blue collar community comes in, right? And, these guys are trying to take care of their bodies, not just for personal reasons, but they make a living with their bodies. But for them to get in during the 8 to 5 hours, they got to take some paid time off or, slip away for a little bit. So we feel like those extended hours are kind of to help our patients get to us.
That's great to know. So when you open, was there any surprises that kind of blindsided you when opening a new business? Because you were in engineering, she was in insurance. Was there any surprises or anything that you weren't expecting?
My biggest surprise, Joe, believe it or not, this is probably not the answer you're expecting, is how much we would be personally involved with our patients, building relationships. And I can tell you 30 years working in the engineering field, I never felt as good as I do coming into work at the Men's Health Clinic, seeing these guys come in with drastic improvements after a couple months of treatment, watching how it transitions their lives, the relationships we've developed, right? I don't think a weekend goes by we don't have patients texting us they're on vacation. Hey, just sending you guys a picture, feeling great.
Yeah.
We've got a pilot that's a patient of ours, and he'll check in at 35,000 feet with a text message. Just, hey, we're
Wow.
feeling great.
That's great. So it's not a healthcare business. It's basically a relationship business where you help people feel better. Obviously, everyone's body is different, but you help people feel better. You create relationships, and people are texting you, reaching out to you, and telling you how much they feel better and how much they've improved since they've been to your clinic. Is that right?
Yeah, that was the biggest surprise, but also at the same time, the biggest fulfillment.
The most interesting aspect I see, because I like to look far into the future and in depth, especially, is the impact and the ripple effect you guys are making. Because like you got one man, right? And what is the term of a man? Well, a man is someone that provides, a man is someone that protects, a man is someone that leads, right? But without, being optimal, without being the best version of yourself, you're not able to do that. So what you're actually doing is you're strengthening the family, and what you're actually doing is strengthening the community, because if men are strong and men are prepared for the challenges of life, then they're going to be able to lead and lift others up. So what do you think about this ripple effect you're making?
I couldn't have said it any better than you did. And that's absolutely 100%. We're making better fathers. We're making better husbands. We're making better employees. And as that ripple effect happens throughout the Lehigh Valley, I mean, that's why we're doing what we're doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, and it's great because we're getting so many guys that come in that say, oh, my friend told me about this. My uncle was just here. My cousin came the other day. So it's great to see that we're changing them and that they're bringing their other family into us too. Like they trust it that much,
As a woman, what type of perspective do you have working at a men's, clinic?
I think what Bob was saying before about building relationships, I really didn't expect that so much. I love the fact that the guys are getting so comfortable. I mean, the stories that I hear from some people kind of makes me laugh sometimes, but like, I love that they have that comfort level that they can just come in and tell us whatever's going on.
Mm-hmm. And if you get a text during the weekend, and I'm sure you get multiple, like, oh, people's lives are changing and the joy in them, it motivates you big time, I bet.
Oh,
Keep
absolutely.
going.
Absolutely.
Nice. So I myself personally, I run the American Christian League. So we have a lot of men that, we're trying to revolutionize what is cool for men, right? And like what I think is it's hard work, it's honor, it's respect, right? And when you do that, it has the same ripple effect you guys are having. So I just really want to appreciate you because we're going to do big things in Lehigh Valley in the next 5 years. I mean, I can just completely see the change that's going to happen. And I actually think it's going to be a city. I think the Lehigh Valley will be called the Lehigh City one day. And, it's going to be, competing with Philadelphia. So, it one step at a time.
Allentown is actually the third biggest city in Pennsylvania, behind only Philly and Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
So definitely a good presence in the community. One of the other things I wanted to mention during this, Joe, is that I don't know if you guys caught this, but the FDA just released a expert panel discussion. The FDA led it and released it on men's testosterone replacement therapy. Probably the most compelling and comprehensive study that I've heard, and the fact that it's sponsored by the FDA. And the big takeaway from this, I would encourage everybody to read it, and I could send you the link to it, Joe, if you want to include it in your podcast. But the biggest takeaway is the FDA is now transitioning testosterone replacement therapy for men so that it'll be recognized by the medical community as preventative maintenance, preventative medicine, for things like osteoporosis, cardiovascular health, obesity, mental health and depression. So coming very soon, TRT, testosterone replacement therapy, is going to be recognized by the medical community as preventative medicine. And I think that, I hope that takes away a lot of the stigmas that we have around TRT.
Yeah, that's huge for the future. I hope a lot of these other doctors kind of get on board with that too, instead of steering people in the wrong way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Especially with all the medications and stuff like that.
And just building on that a little bit, Joe, a lot of times what we see, guys come to us because they're frustrated with their primary care doctors, right? They're saying your testosterone level's 250, that's within the normal range, but let me give you medication for your diabetes. Let me give you medication to increase your energy. Let me give you medication to decrease your hypertension. These guys are on 5, 6, 7 meds, If you can get at it and fix the root cause and correct the hormone deficiency, get their testosterones, into that optimal range, it's amazing. I'm not a doctor, but it's amazing how all these other symptoms go away.
Yeah. Mood swings are a huge thing for symptom for low testosterone. So I recommend everyone to get their blood work done, kind of check that out, make sure you're good on all your levels, and kind of see where you're at. Do you think the modern foods that people eat are helping decrease testosterone levels?
Well, 100%. There's some really interesting statistics out there that if you take your average 30-year-old today, he's got the testosterone levels that my generation's grandparents had at 50. Right?
Wow.
So they attribute that to a lot of different things. Food and diet is one. And I think we have a whole generation of people who have kind of come up in a very sedentary lifestyle, right? Spending a lot of time gaming instead of out riding their bikes in the street and doing this and that. These cell phone, mobile devices that we have, we spend too much time on that. So there's a lot of different theories out there, but there's definitely, I won't call it an epidemic, but we are seeing a drastic change in guys at younger and younger ages having very clinically low testosterone levels.
It is an epidemic. Do you suggest people in their 20s now to get blood work and kind of see where their testosterone is? Maybe like their late 20s?
So we're happy to test guys in their late 20s and kind of let them know where they are. And what I would add on that, Joe, it's very much symptom based.
Symptom related,
right? Yeah. So just coming in to have your testosterone levels checked. If you're not experiencing any of the common symptoms, you're probably okay.
Yeah.
But it never hurts to check. Again, our lab tests and that initial consultation are 100% free. You come into our clinic and we're not going to give you a sales pitch, right? Everything is medically based and, based on medical needs.
We're talking about being sediment. Don't you guys offer vitamins as well? Do you offer booster shots and stuff like that?
We do, Joe. That's another part of our business. So we have a wide variety of vitamin injections. We got the B12, B complex, the glutathione, the amino multiplex, and a handful of others. Yeah.
Nice.
How much does mental health play in the role of, just an overall man's health?
I think they're almost inherent, right? I mean, how your body's feeling and how your mental health state is, I think are commingled. It's one and the same thing. And, that could or could not, that could be tied to hormone levels. It could be tied to something else. But, if your mental state's not right, that can affect your hormone levels. If your hormone levels are off, that's definitely going to affect your mental state.
Because, the biggest epidemic I think we are seeing today is two. I believe it's two. I think the first one is depression, especially for people my age. I mean, I think it's rampant across all ages. Depression is huge, and the second is drug addiction, right? So, like, just getting into depression, having depression drops your testosterone, I'm guessing, right?
It can, and whether that's a primary effect or a secondary effect, because typically with depression, you might get into that sedentary lifestyle, you might get into substance abuse, and I think all those things combined, can be related.
Therefore, would you say that the mental health of it is really what stops as well people from having good levels, because now they're not putting in an effort to eat right. Now they're not putting in an effort to go to the gym. Now they're just not taking care of themselves. Whereas if their mental health was fixed, they would start to pay attention more to how they're doing in life.
Yeah, 100%. And I think, building on that a little bit, I think that's a two-way street too, because if you can get the body, the mental aspects that you just mentioned can all attribute to the physical symptoms too, right? But if you help and relieve some of those physical symptoms, that can work the other way too and start helping the mental aspects. You've got more energy now, so you're more active, you're going to the gym, and that in itself just tends to help the mental side of things.
I feel like a lot of the mental stuff also is lack of sleep, which testosterone can help with you sleeping better with REM sleep, with deep sleep. A lot of people are on their phones at night scrolling with the blue lights, which affects their sleep. Less sleep, realistically, can lower your testosterone as well. Is that correct?
Yeah,
Stress and
100%.
sleep are a big impact of low testosterone.
Yeah, and we do preach that kind of holistic, testosterone replacement therapy alone isn't going to fix everything, right? You got to kind of do a more holistic approach. Make sure you're sleeping good. We don't tell people you can't go out to the bars at night, but moderate your alcohol consumption, eat right, make sure you're exercising, so that kind of all comes together. And what tends to happen, Joe, if your sleep patterns are off, and we all have crazy work-life balances and things like that, anxiety, stress, that can increase your cortisol levels highly too. And that's another thing that's detrimental to your testosterone.
Gotcha. And cortisol is a stress hormone, correct?
Correct.
What are some of the other services you offer? Can we go over a couple of the peptides?
Yeah. So, I'm not sure how familiar your audience will be with peptides, but peptides are really just bioengineered amino acids, right? It's an amazing medical science. And there's a wide range, a wide breadth, and a wide depth of peptides, right? So you get peptides anywhere from, growing lean muscle mass, improving bone density, fatigue, recovery. So we offer a pretty wide range of peptides. Some of the more popular ones are the growth hormone releasing peptides, or GHRPs, like Samorelin, CJC1295, ipamorelin, tesamorelin. We've had guys have tremendous success with BPC-157. That's a recovery peptide. So guys suffering, maybe they've had an operation, they've got an acute injury or something that helps in the healing process. Even for the more chronic things, we had a recent patient training hard for the Boston Marathon, and he had just run a marathon several months before that to qualify for the Boston Marathon. Had been training for a long period of time. Three weeks before the Boston Marathon, right in the middle of his final training, he pulled his hamstring. Actually had a slight tear.
Oh, wow.
Doctor said, no running for 3 weeks. And I just worked hard for this marathon coming up 3 weeks from today. So, came back to us. He was a repeat patient, got back on the BPC. And I think, Pam, 3 to 4 days, he was back running again, set a personal record, his own personal record at the Boston Marathon.
So it was 3 weeks. He tore it 3 weeks before, or he strained it?
3 weeks before the marathon.
Yeah.
He had a slight tear and a strain.
Wow. And you said he set a record, old and personal record?
Yeah, so he was back running in 3 days instead of 3 weeks. And then when he ran the Boston Marathon, he set a personal best for himself.
Yeah. BPC-157 is great. As you know, I used it before. I used it for my ACL, and the recovery from the injury to when when a month or two later was tremendous. There's a lot of research out there. We're not physicians, so this isn't for everyone, but there's a lot of research out there saying that BPC-157 can heal 40 to 50% quicker your injury, whether it's a tear, a strain, anything like that, ligaments, the tendons. So it's very great. It's sub-Q injection you do in your stomach. There's a cycle. Can you explain the cycles that some of the peptides, like the cycle length and all that stuff?
Yeah, so the cycle length differs slightly from peptide to peptide, and
Mhm.
that's why you should do it with a licensed medical facility. But what happens is those bioengineered and bioidentical peptides that we were talking about, the way they work is they bind with different receptors in your body, and really they act just like little messengers. They tell your body to start producing more of what it
Mhm.
may have slowed down producing as we get a little bit older. So what happens is once you're on a peptide for so long, those receptors can get desensitized, right? So typically what we recommend with peptides, and it's different cycles, but what
Mhm.
you want to do is take them for a period of time and then stop so that those receptors don't become
Gotcha.
desensitized.
So you cycle on and off.
Yeah, helps maintain the effectiveness.
What else do you guys offer in the clinic? I remember you were talking about the shockwave therapy. Is that something great for athletes?
It is. It is. So we have shockwave therapy, and the way that works, it sends electrohydraulic pulses. It's non-invasive, so it's applied topically, but it sends electrohydraulic pulses into the body. And what that's meant to do is reduce inflammation, break up scar tissue, improve circulation. But the big thing is what it does, it promotes angiogenesis, or the regeneration of new cells. So yeah, that's musculoskeletal treatment is one of the
Ni-
services we offer.
Nice.
What do you think about meditation, and what do you believe in meditation?
I do. Personally, I don't practice it, but I think it goes back to that holistic treatment plan that we were talking about earlier. And meditation plays a key role in that. Kind of resets, lets you refocus a little bit. Yeah, personally, I don't practice, but strong proponent for it.
What about cold therapy? Do you believe in cold therapy practice?
Jury's out for me on that. Yeah, I hear some very, very good things about it. Yeah, I have not tried that one myself, but yeah.
They say cold showers and ice baths, they reduce inflammation, and they get your mitochondria working harder, and stuff like that. So they say it's a combination of meditation plus cold therapy plus what you guys are doing plus working out. It's like the monk mode almost.
Yeah, I'm kind of laughing at that because my experience with cold therapy is, and I'm sorry, maybe this is off topic, but Pam and I were closing up our home pool one year, right? And in typical fashion, we procrastinated and waited till like December to finally close the pool. And one of the little pool plugs I dropped in, and I was trying to fish it out with the net, and I couldn't get it, and I got frustrated, and I dove in to get this plug off the bottom. Well, I thought I was about to have a heart attack. So from a personal level, I think that traumatized me, and I steered away from the cold therapy. But I do know there's a lot of benefits. Joe Rogan and some of these guys are
Mhm.
super big fans of that. And yeah, there's some science that says that's good treatment.
There's a lot of benefits for cold therapy for sure,
Yeah.
and sauna as well for cardiovascular health. Do you guys have any services that you want to offer in the future, or that you plan on integrating into the business model?
Yeah, so I think one of the things that we want to get into, we do vitamin injections now, but one of the things that's very popular and very effective is the IV therapy for
Mhm.
vitamins. So we want to get that into the practice. Anything come to mind for you for additional services in the future?
No, I think for right now we're focused on our core.
Yeah.
But yeah, the IV therapy there's a big need for that too.
Nice. And are you going to focus more on doing like immune IVs, like a vitamin C, vitamin B, glutathione for detoxification? Obviously, you can't do vitamin D because that's fat soluble. That you could just do injection. You can't do that in the IV. Do you have any of the bags kind of decided, like immune bags? They have hangover IVs now.
We haven't gotten that far down the process yet, Joe, but I do like the detox ones. We go over to the Steel Ice Center every now and again. They have these big hockey tournaments there. They get a couple
Yeah.
hundred guys, from the East Coast. They play ice hockey and drink beer all weekend long. So we went there to the last tournament, and we were doing the MSK treatments, the ultrasound treatments for
Yeah.
guys that were getting dinged up.
Nice.
And I would say 9 out of the 10 guys that we approached about an MSK treatment was asking if we were doing a vitamin IVs for
Oh, really?
the detox and the replenishment.
Yeah. What were they, hangover IVs, or were they more just for like an immune?
It was more, a little bit hangover, but
Yeah.
more
Both.
fatigue.
What's the best amino or vitamin that you carry for detoxification? Is it glutathione?
Glutathione is probably the most popular and probably the most effective. Yeah.
Nice. Are you guys gonna also do vitamin C, high dose vitamin C for like people that have cancer issues, or are you gonna stick to the traditional maybe 5-10 grams of vitamin C in the IV?
Yeah, I think we're going to stick at least for now for sort of that maintenance dose, that optimization dose, and
Yeah.
not get into specific treatments.
Gotcha. Besides the IVs, do you guys have anything else planned, or are you said you're focusing on the core, the testosterone, the peptides, the blood work, the injections, right?
Yeah, and I think the other it's not a new service, but the other thing that we're really trying to promote, and we like to refer to it as sexual performance. We use the word ED, right, and that's got another stigma that guys want to stay away from. So we want to start promoting more some of those services. We got an OmniWave device, and 90+% of ED issues are really about circulation. So we use that same device as we use for the MSK treatments, and that's applied directly to the male genitals. But we also offer what's called a Priapus shot, or a P shot, as it's commonly referred to. So what we do is we take the patient's own blood, we spin it in a centrifuge, and extract that platelet-rich plasma. And that platelet-rich plasma, again, gets injected directly into the male penis. Again, promotes angiogenesis, improves circulation, improves sensation, duration, performance of erections, all that kind of good stuff.
Nice.
So yeah, those are some services I think we're going to promote a little bit more for sexual performance.
And that helps with the blood flow, you said, correct?
It does, yeah.
Nice. The weight loss, can you please explain that as well?
Yeah, so there's kind of three primary categories of weight loss, and weight loss medications have become extremely popular and they're extremely effective. So you got the GLP-1s, the GLP-2s, and the GLP-3s. The GLP-1s is like your semaglutides, right? And that's got one mechanism of activation on it. You get the GLP-2s. I don't want to use any of the trade names that
That's
these
fine.
fall under.
Yeah.
And then the biggest one that's come out is retatrutide. I don't know if you guys are familiar with retatrutide, but that's a GLP-3. So it's got three active mechanisms, right? It slows your digestion, right? So that takes away from your appetite. It also limits the amount of nutrients that your body absorbs. So even if you do eat a little bit too much, it helps reduce how much of those calories are actually getting, put into your system. As a side benefit with the retatrutide, they've also found that it helps improve liver function. So you kind of get those three active mechanisms. You don't have some of the issues that you have with tirzepatide, losing muscle mass and things like that.
So it helps with detoxification as well, right?
And it helps a
Helping
little bit with detox. Yeah, that's not the primary objective, but that is sort of a side benefit.
So is it kind of like the same process of when you take blood work to get prescribed testosterone? Is the weight loss and the other one you mentioned?
Yeah, so we monitor the blood and the health on an ongoing basis for all patients. And for the weight loss, we do monitor the blood results, but then we also carefully monitor the dosage, right? We want to make sure that the patient's experiencing good, consistent weight loss, right?
Okay.
And everybody responds a little bit differently. Some have very rapid weight loss at very low doses. Others take a little bit longer to see the results.
How do you figure out someone's dose when it comes to the weight loss? How do you prescribe them a certain dose?
Yeah, so the weight loss always starts with an acclimation dose, and that's a very low dose just to make sure the patient can, tolerate the medication. They don't have any adverse effects. We get a very small amount that they get a little bit of nausea, upset stomach, maybe suffer some constipation. But after that acclimation dose, it's kind of stepped up on a pretty fixed regime. But with that, every month we'll measure the results. How much weight did you lose? How are you feeling on it? And then we'll kind of adjust the dosage from there.
Gotcha. Yeah, so that answered my next question. I was going to ask you how many times, when do they have a follow-up? How long is the follow-up? So it's usually monthly?
Yeah, for the weight loss, it's every month.
Okay. What about the testosterone or the erectile dysfunction?
Yeah. Pam, do you want to talk about the testosterone?
Sure. For the testosterone, it really depends on where they are in their treatment. When they first start, we'll see them back again in a few weeks, do more blood work, see how their levels are adjusting, and then really just we'll keep going from there depending on how their body's handling it. But that, I think, sets us apart from a lot of these online companies, right?
Yeah.
We hear that all the time, guys. Oh, well, I was getting it online, but like I never really talked to anybody. I haven't had blood work in 2 years. So we make sure that we monitor that regularly, and we're checking all of their levels.
Yeah, and the blood work is the most important part. You know what I mean? Like you could buy any of this stuff online for cheaper, but when you go to Game Day Men's Health, it's more personalized. You guys, you know what I mean? You treat us like we're family. You know what I mean? And that's
Thank
a great
you.
thing.
We,
You know-
we value that feedback, Joe. Thank you for that.
For sure. When like I said, when you buy online, they send it to you, you never hear from them again. You know what I mean? You can't check, they don't check your blood. So it's just like throwing you out in the wild. You know what I mean? Here, inject this into you and good luck.
What are some simple steps they can take, right? Like, I know that you guys have social media and stuff, but what's the easiest way to get plugged in and check it out?
The very easiest way is just to call us here in the clinic. You'll get a live body. It'll probably be Pam or myself. Direct number to the clinic is 484-222-4646.
And how does that process work? Is it a very comfortable environment? Like you said, it's like a man cave. You go in, it's a nice environment. There's no rush going on, right?
Yeah, 100%. So you'll come in, we'll get you checked in. That first appointment for your initial labs and your blood work, Pam, probably the average patient is in and out in 7-8 minutes,
Absolutely.
maybe. Yeah. So that kind of gets the process started. We got to, like I said before, that leather couch, we got some complimentary snacks there. So relax. You got ESPN on the TV,
Nice.
watch the game. We'll get your blood work done. We'll have your results back in 36 to 48 hours. And you come back in for your consult. You'll meet with our licensed and board certified medical provider. They're going to go over your labs with you. Here's your numbers. Tell me more about your symptoms and what are your health and wellness goals. That kind of establishes the gap. And then our treatment plan is intended to close that gap.
And I think another thing that separates us from like your regular doctor's office is when you come in for your consultation, we dedicate that time just to you. We're not double and triple booking appointments. So that time is just for you.
That's very important because some businesses, they do walk-ins. You guys don't do walk-ins, I'm guessing. You guys are more appointment-based.
We are more appointment based.
Yeah.
If somebody does walk in, and we have had that, we'll do everything we can to accommodate that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is more appointment, like I said, just because we dedicate that time to a specific patient.
Nice. How has the business growth been overall since the first day you started? What was the first day you started this business?
So we opened in February of 2025, and very happy to say we've seen phenomenal growth since then. And, we kind of feel like right now we're, the old hockey stick curve where you kind of grow linear for a little while and then it kind of shoots up. We kind of feel like we're entering that phase right now. So growth has been good. Business has been great. And just the people we get to see day to day, that's the icing on the cake.
Do you think a lot of the growth has been kind of word of mouth? People, happy clients referring their friends, their family to your business, and they're coming in?
That's a very timely question, Joe, because I just was looking at the data this morning. In the beginning, probably 95% of our leads were coming from social media, digital marketing, all that kind of stuff. Now that's reduced to about 50%. So
Wow.
50% of our leads are coming organically through referrals, people looking up our Google business page. We're
That's
trending
nice.
#1 in the entire Lehigh Valley. So if somebody gets online and searches TRT, we're trending #1 across the Lehigh Valley. It'd be the first name that pops up.
Yeah, I always see your ads pop up, but that's probably because I'm always talking about it.
Yeah.
So, but that's great. And where are you guys located? Can you give the audience your address so they could find you?
Yeah, we're at 5325 Northgate Drive. We're right off 22 and 512. Everybody knows the Wegmans right there at 22 and 512. We're right next door to Wegmans.
Nice.
We're in a Bethlehem Medical Arts Center.
And what's the suite?
Suite number 200.
200? Great. Thank you, Bob and Pam, for coming on. Thanks for spending time here, kind of giving us the insight of your own personal background and the business itself. I appreciate you guys.
It was our
Thank you,
pleasure,
guys.
Joe. And we'd like to thank all you guys, too, for giving us a venue to speak about the business and hopefully educate people. And,
we'll have you back on. We'll have you back on. Once the hockey stick points straight up and the growth is good or a lot better, then we'll bring it back on.
Love to do it.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you,
That was
guys.
excellent.